I was 8 months pregnant when my mother abruptly pulled me out of my seat on a bus in Phoenix. Her voice, sharp as a stiletto, pierced the tense silence of the crowd. "Get up, let your sister sit." She's standing. My hand rested on my expanded stomach. My feet were distended. My back ached intensely, but I rose slowly and deliberately, and I smiled. "All right," I whispered. "Then have your competent sister pay for everything." My mother frowned, puzzled. My sister Eliza smirked, proud of her minor triumph. But in that instant, I decided this charade concludes today. I alighted from the transit bus, walked to my apartment, and immediately halted the payments for my parents' house remodel. Bit by bit, I would allow them to observe what occurs when they mistake my compliance for weakness. I had not always been this way. There was a period when I desperately sought their acceptance. When I was younger, my sister Eliza was the prized child, keen, attractive, vivacious. She occupied every corner of the room with her presence, and my mother showered her with devotion. I was quieter, steadier, the daughter who remained in the background, who labored diligently, who endured burdens for which I received no gratitude. When I wed and relocated, they never inquired about my adjustment. They simply demanded when I would remit funds to their residence. When I became pregnant, instead of expressing delight, I heard, "Do not neglect your obligation. Kinship comes first." Kinship first, as long as it meant me contributing and them acquiring. The treachery was not sudden. It was a gradual erosion. Initially, I disregarded the comments. My mother informing my sister Eliza I was idle. That gestation was not a legitimate excuse. Then the demands escalated. Contemporary furnishings, medical expenses, reconstruction fees. I settled the bills on every occasion because I believed wealth would purchase affection. But it was not affection. It was dependence. And dependence cultivates disdain. The incident on the bus was simply the decisive moment. Observing my mother yank me from that position, for her capable daughter conveyed everything essential. I was never her offspring. I was her cash source. I did not weep. I did not yell. I devised a strategy. The payments ceased first silently. The builders telephoned. My father Benson was frantic. My mother called me enraged, her voice saturated with malice. "You cannot simply quit. We have commenced the work already. Your sister Eliza cannot manage this." I listened. I allowed her to vent her fury into the receiver. Then I posed one inquiry. "Why not?" "She is competent." Click. Silence. It did not conclude there. When the provisions were insufficient, they phoned me. When the accounts amassed, they contacted me. When the residence stood partially destroyed, cold currents infiltrating, through unfinished walls they pleaded. And each time I provided the identical response: "Inquire of her. You desired her seated. Now permit her to stand." I could perceive the fractures developing in their speech. My sister Eliza's arrogance transformed into desperation. She was compelled to accept extra. Employment compelled to rationalize to her acquaintances why the family dwelling appeared like a building site abandoned mid-conflict. It was deliberate, agonizing, flawless. The culmination arrived 3 weeks later. I visited unannounced. The house appeared devastated. Exposed wiring. Cement residues still adhered to the surfaces. The atmosphere carried the scent of failure. My father Benson sat slumped on a damaged stool. My sister Eliza was bent over invoices, her hair disheveled, her eyes crimson. My mother observed me at the entrance and straightened. She attempted to retain the pretense of the matriarch. "You have established your purpose. Now rectify this." I stepped inside. My swollen abdomen grazed the table. I gazed at each of them in sequence. "No," I stated gently. "You rectify this. I provided and you ridiculed. I suffered and you demanded further. You wished for her upon the high chair, not me. Then allow her to preside." My sister Eliza's face collapsed. The accountability finally rested where it belonged. My mother's lips quivered, but pride kept her mute. That silence tasted superior to any expression of regret. Exiting that ruined structure, I felt weightless. My infant moved within me, a small memento of the destiny I was selecting. A destiny where I was not their domestic worker, their treasury, their forgotten daughter. I selected myself. I selected my child. And I chose to let them choke on the ramifications of their own partiality. Occasionally, late at night, I reenact the instant. On the bus, the warmth of my mother's grip on my arm, the conceited curve of my sister Eliza's grin. I reenact my own utterance, calm and decisive. Then have your competent sister pay for everything. It was not merely a sentence. It was a lifetime of minor indignities eradicated with a solitary determination. Do I lament my choice? No. I regret granting them such authority for such a protracted time. I regret believing affection could be acquired through sacrifice. But pulling that single fiscal cord and observing their existence, dissolve that was genuine equity. Now when I am seated on my own conditions. And if my competent sister Eliza is standing, let her stand.